Hello everyone and welcome back to Frostpunk here, where we need to find some more people. We need to find another settlement. I'm not sure what that will entail, but things can get colder here pretty soon again, back down to -40, so we're going to have to be aware of that. We've sent some of our scouts out to the observatory. We can actually make a second scouting party if we think that's worthwhile, but I don't think we can do that just at the moment, so we'll have to see how that goes really. In the meantime, we're just trying to do our best to get all the relevant things that we need to. We'll probably get another law done soon. And we're also teching up a bit. We're going for our second tier of tech. There's a lot of tech to go. But this will allow us to get more scouts, better food. We can grow some food kind of more locally as opposed to going out and hunting. We can increase the range of our generator. All in all, taking up is a pretty good idea. But it's a long way for those scouts to get out there, so probably I shouldn't have sent them out so far. We do have some people who are being treated, although no one has a major issue and they're all going for treatment, so hopefully they'll all be okay. We do have some sick absences, but we'll just have to deal with that. Having a quick look at our economy, we are making a profit for coal, we're making a profit for wood, steel we're making profit, albeit rather slowly. Food consumption, we're making a very slow profit, a very slow gain. We could do soup, but that would raise discontent. That being said, we actually have a lot of discontent. I think we'll actually switch to soup. People won't like it as much, but it'll produce more food. And that's important. That will increase discontent probably slightly, I would imagine. And people won't like it as much, but that's okay. We should be okay to deal with that, I think. This tent here is waiting for workers, but that can be done during the night time, because we still have some people who are homeless. That's also because I decided to move them inside the area where it would be heated, and I think that is important. In terms of the coal, we are generating enough, which is good, because we can get them. They can go and gather the coal from here, take it back to the relative warmth. You know, it's all relatively warm around here, so that's quite useful. Especially as the temperature is going to drop soon, we want to be able to do our best to be able to kind of support people. We will put the generator to overdrive, but only when it gets cold. I think that's the point. In terms of our food production, we're doing okay, but with the soup we can make some more rations, and that's good, I think. Let's have another look at the Book of Laws, because we're about to be able to get some more things done. We could introduce the House of Pleasure. Hope will fall lightly, but apart from that, I can't see many disadvantages for doing that. We could do a dueling law, but people might be killed, and I don't think that's worthwhile doing. In terms of, we could use extra rations in the medical facility to speed up recovery, or we could let people lie on the floor, but it will give us some extra capacity. Let's not go with that just yet. We could go for a care house. If the gravely ill and amputees would be cared for at low cost and no longer burden medical posts, that might be quite useful. We will have to build a care house, but that's probably okay. It only costs 25 wood and 5 steel. I think we'll do that actually. We don't have too many kind of in that situation just yet, but we might do fairly soon. So that's why I think it's a good thing to do. Let's let the timer cool down. We can now research tier 1 technologies. So we've got a few things to decide now. We could go for the care house. That will go into prosthetics. We can go into other such things. Okay, so in terms of the Book of Laws, I think we are going to go for the House of Pleasure. Hope will fall, but I think it'll be useful in the long run, because having a permanent modifier will be useful indeed. In terms of tech that we want to do, we're going to have some more cold pretty soon, so actually having the range extended I think will be useful. Although I imagine that will cost us quite a bit more coal, but given we're coming up to such a cold period, I think that is worthwhile to do. And some people can't live without the pleasures of the flesh, apparently. It's the oldest, kind of one of the oldest businesses in profession, so I'm not going to say no to it. Although I imagine it might throw up a few complications as time goes on, but we'll have to see. Let's speed up time a bit, and we'll let things just run for a little while. We're now into free time, although I think some people still... Yeah, we have some people still working through to 8 o'clock, I believe. Purely just so we can keep on progressing in terms of coal, in terms of the basic necessities to stay alive. We will need to search for others, search for a new settlement. That will be our next kind of real job. Probably once these guys are done, we'll send them out in search of a new area. The good thing is, once we've built this house, we should have no issues with homelessness at all. Things are actually looking mildly okay. No one's drastically ill. All in all, I'd say it's going pretty well. Let's see if we can capitalise on this, because soon it's going to drop, and I have a feeling it's going to... Okay, it's going to stay cold for a while. This is why it's good to have the additional tech. Okay, scouts have reached the observatory. Let's have a look what's going on here. Something's amiss at the observatory. Snow covers the precious instruments, and the dome is open, letting out a thin column of smoke. Someone is inside. The sun is dimming. Instead of astronomers, we are met by some of our lost people. They explain that they came here for help, but found everyone dead. The astronomers continued their observations until they starved. What could be so important for them? They wrote it up in their diaries. The loss of sunlight can't be explained solely by the fouling of the atmosphere by the southern volcanoes. The sun is dimming. We're going to escort the survivors to the city. We can send the survivors to the city, but some of them will probably die en route. Or we can leave them to their fate. And I don't think we're going to do that. We will escort them. It will take them a while to get back, but then we need to head over the other way anyway, so they may as well stop off via our city. There's no point kind of waiting, and having the few extra people will be useful. Although we will of course have to feed them and kind of house them, so we will probably I might even preemptively make some new housing areas. Hopefully still within the same area. In fact, we can probably build a new street going, let's say, this way. And because the ring should increase in terms of the heat, that should be okay. So we'll build a couple of tents there. They'll be cold now, but my hope is that once we've increased the range of this generator, that will work a lot better. Though I imagine it will increase the cost. Yes, we'll need 12 coal. Time to earn your bread, indeed. So that will really knacker the amount of coal we get. So we will probably put all additional people on the coal pile. Because this generates still a pretty good amount of coal. And we can probably also start a coal extraction post as well. We might even be able to build a second coal thumper here. And as long as it's in range of the collection area, then they can constantly produce coal for us, and I think we will do that. So we'll pop that down. Yeah, we'll pop that down so that we have more people being able to gather, although the gathering process is going to be so big. But we can hopefully... Actually, that's a bad idea. Let's get rid of that. Because the gathering post is only so big. But actually what we could do is just build a second gathering post. That might be the better option. Because this does say it can produce 560 per day, which is enough for 2 gathering posts. So actually that might not be a bad thing to do. We'll put another gathering post down here, and then we can put people in there and they can gather from this coal pile. Because if we're going to have the range of our tower increase, we're going to need more coal to deal with it. Especially as we're going into a very long cold period, actually, another kind of 4 or 5 days. We're going to need probably one more house on top of the ones I built, so let me do that now. Obviously tents are not particularly good at retaining heat, but they will be okay until we kind of come up with a better thing instead. Cool. And these guys should be nearly back, and then we'll send them on to hopefully find a new city. Here we go. The generator heat zone extends farther now. Coal consumption is higher when using this setting. Let me just have a quick look at the temperatures right away. So currently they're like that. If I went up to range setting 2... Okay, so range setting 1, it doesn't... People are too chilly there. If I went up to range setting 2... People in those outer areas will be warm. But it does cost 12 coal per hour. What's that going to do to our coal consumption? Are we going to have enough? No, we will lose some, but we should get some more in soon. As soon as these workers come back, we'll get the second people on the gathering post. But it means that we've got heat further out, and I think that is important. In terms of what we want to do next in terms of tech, we could think about a power upgrade. Again, that would increase how much coal we actually have to use. I think we might be able to go for more scouts, but for the time being, let's think about something a bit more basic. Could go for a charcoal kiln, but I don't know if that's really the best option. We can go for a coal mine. That might not be a bad thing to do, but I think actually what we might want to focus on now is a hothouse, and it can, because that can produce raw food. Yeah, I think we'll do that. That can produce raw food, saving us having to go out into the bitter wilderness to get our food from there. We're okay on food for now. I think probably coal is going to be the major issue going forward now that we've kind of increased the heat range. But I think we'll be okay. When these guys get back, we'll send them out to the next area to kind of find a new city. I think that'll be the plan. Whether that plan is successful is a whole other question. So yeah, we'll have to kind of see how things go. I'm concerned. Oh, we're actually full on food rations. That's interesting. Well, with the new people coming in, I'm sure that won't be a problem. It's going to permanently be 40 degrees for the time being, and I imagine it's only going to get lower as time goes on. So we're going to have to really work on things. We'll have to see how things go. Okay, 34 minutes. Let's get them in, and then we'll send the scout team pretty much out straight away. So we've got 18 engineers, 4 children, and 11 workers. That's useful. So we've got 33 new people to contend with. Let's send people out to the shelter. It's going to take 22 hours to arrive, so it's quite a way away. But in the meantime, we can house these new people. I think we are in the process of building those new areas, those new bits of buildings them soon. Now that we have more people here, let's double check how we're doing. Wood we're doing okay on, steel we're doing okay on, that's fine. Food we are just about making profit. So right now we're doing okay. But we have more people who could usefully be put to work doing something. I don't think we need another fighting arena. We might want to get another hunter or another medical post eventually, now that we've got more people to deal with. We've got the coal thumper, but I don't think we need that. In terms of... we've got this steel wreckage here, which currently we've got children collecting. We'll double that up. So the children are just going to carry steel, which probably isn't very safe for their health, to be honest, but that's okay. In terms of the other people who have just arrived, we'll let them build the houses, and then we'll probably put... In fact, I'm going to take off the children here. We'll put the workers out here on the steel, and we can put some new people in the gathering posts, some of the children, and maybe some of the engineers as well. Although, of course, engineers are much more useful for kind of more specialised work. We'll have to see. In terms of discontent and hope, we're doing pretty much okay. We don't need to put... We'll put in a couple of engineers into the public house and the pleasure house to get that kind of working. But we can always change that out should we need to. Okay, they are building some of these other places, which is good. We are about to go into the very cold period. I don't know if this has got more range as well now. I don't think so. Oh, it does. It does. We could increase the range, but we'll have to deal with that. Okay, we've got 10 homeless, and we have some people who are hungry and some people who are sick. Presumably because it's cold and they haven't got anywhere to live, but they do now. Let's... Okay. Now we're going to enter the cold period very, very soon indeed. The cookhouse is closed. But the food rations... Well, the food rations now are okay, just about. I think what we will do, we will get ourselves a hothouse. Coal consumption is obviously still low. So we're going to put children in there. And these people will be on a longer shift. I know they're children. But I think it's important. We'll also get a hothouse down soon. And these guys will be able to collect some coal in the next day. Just because we are now at a higher stage, it's going to take us a lot more coal because we're heating a wide area. We can go into overdrive, but I'm going to save that for when we are into the very cold period, as it were. In terms of kind of heaters, how are these guys doing? Because these guys are going to get pretty cold pretty soon. But I don't really want to put down another... I'd rather not... I mean, I'll give these guys the heater. That's fine. It's another coal. But it means that everywhere is heated to at least some extent. Although, of course, once we go into the very cold period, that could be an issue. But these guys, I think we only need to have the heater on... Does that work 24 hours a day? I guess it does. Let's hope we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. Temperature's falling. The frost is here, and it doesn't look like it's going to go away for quite some time. Everywhere is now very chilly indeed. There will be a low risk of falling ill. We can put this into overdrive, and we will do so for the time being. And that will buy us some time, but we can't always have that on. We'll need to kind of keep an eye on that, because if it gets to 100 and kind of bursts open, then we're all dead. We do have an issue with having soup, but given how much food we have here, I think that is important, and how many more people we have now. Okay, so the new workday started, and this time we don't have the children going out into the cold to get the steel, which is good. We do have them here instead, and they can collect some coal, which is good. Let's have an eye on our coal production. We are actually now kind of going over and above, which is good, which means we can probably afford to be a little bit more generous with what we're doing, but I imagine things will get worse and worse as time goes on. We're searching for another settlement. That's going to happen in about 6 hours. We'll speed up time. I'd definitely like to build some more... Oh! We have someone who's arrived. Or possibly dying. He was close. Man from Winterhome. We found an exhausted man at the edge of our city. He said that he came from Winterhome, a settlement located not far from here, and that he was the last survivor. Winterhome is dead. Everyone's dead. There's no hope for survival in this accursed wasteland. You're all doomed. You must escape. So we're alone. The news has shocked everyone in the city. There were supposed to be so many settlements and construction crews here, but people living normal lives in homes heated by the generators, but we're alone. Discussions are happening. Coming here was a fool's errand. We should go back. All those people, we can't end up like them. How are we supposed to survive if they don't? Oh, that's a lot of hope. That's a big loss of hope. We should stay in London. Surely it couldn't have fallen like this. Winterhome has fallen. They're all dead. How will we survive here without any help? We have to go back to London. There's no hope for us here in the frozen desert. People start to gather as the news of the fate of Winterhome spreads through the city. Some of them want to drop back and head from fleet to London. Panic is starting to set in. We must give them purpose. Okay, here we go. This is our first major decision. We've had decisions, kind of small laws, but this is going to be tough. Choose our path. People are shaken, racked by fear and doubt. They've lost hope in our chances of survival. Desperation quickly pushed them to commit reckless acts. You have to unite them behind a vision of the future. Decide now what will give them purpose and restore hope, or else our city will descend into the chaos that consumed Winterhome. Go for order and discipline, or we can go for faith and spiritual strength. My concern is with faith and spiritual strength is that it could inevitably lead into a cult, like a cult of personality, if someone becomes kind of the head of that cult. Frankly, I think order discipline would be the better route, despite the fact people will not be thrilled about it. Here we go, we've got a purpose, so we can now go for Neighbourhood Watch. Okay, so we need to mobilise and stand together to help people in need and protect them from troublemakers. After introducing this law, another can be passed soon. We can build a watchtower. They increase the hope of people living nearby, but we will have to build 2 of them. Only 15 wood and 5 steel, that's not bad. We will sign that. And we will have about 2 days to deal with that. Is it going to be? Okay, it's going to be under here, watchtower. These aren't too bad. And they've got a decent kind of stretch for them. So given we've got most of our housing in the same area, in fact we might even do 3 towers. I'm sure they cost a bit more. But we might be able to do that. We might be able to use that in our favour. It seems like a good idea, but I'm worried where it may lead. Of course, this might have an issue as well. And it looks like that's going to be it for the time being in terms of the order. We'll get those built, people will be a bit safer. We probably also will build one over by the public house because that has the opportunity to go wrong. But I think for the time being we'll leave it there. We have got a bit of an issue now. There doesn't seem to be any time soon of, let's deal with that in a second. There doesn't seem to be any chance of the heat increasing again, or the temperature increasing again soon, and Winterhome has fallen, so people are very, very discontent. Let's do this and then we'll call it an episode there. The unconvinced want to leave. So, you've convinced the majority, but hope is low. A group of our people are still so scared they want to flee the city for London in 15 days. They'll come to try to change your mind. You say order will save us? Nonsense. What are we going to decide who to eat first when we start to starve? If we don't try to reach London, we'll end up like Winterhome. Calm down, we're not going to die. So we have a lot to do. We have got a lot of work to do going forward. But thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.